honestly, I do appreciate you guys being here. A ton. This is important to me. This is the reason I do what I do, so that to help you guys do what you do better. And that's the bottom line here. I believe there's a divine DNA inside of you called music. And my job is to help you guys communicate what's going on inside you to those people in the audience. And that's what we're here to do today. So let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is, let's start with the audience. Let's not start with us. Because one of the biggest problems I always have is when I work with an artist, and overcoming this is a hard thing because we live inside our bodies, is we think because we feel the music, because we hear the lyrics, we wrote the song, we picked the song, that we're inside the song, we're emotional, and we're connected to it, so that means the audience is. And that is one of the biggest myths I run across all the time. The idea is, how do we communicate? How do we, if we could, here it is in a nutshell, if we could somehow take a chord and connect it to each person in the audience, and they could get that emotion and feeling that's going inside of us when we're up on stage doing our thing, we'd win every time. But the problem is there's interference. Actually, we're in a wireless age, aren't we here? And there's interference all the time. So what we've got to do is understand the receiver of what we're trying to communicate. So we need to understand our audience. It's huge. And this is the grid I want to run everything through. And this is the grid I think you need to run everything through. And that is this. What does the audience go for? Why are you here? Three reasons. The first is you want to be captured and engaged. When you go to a movie, you don't want to be thinking about, oh, I left the coffee on, oh, what's happening tomorrow. You want to be completely present in the moment. And so does your audience. Your audience is there because they want to be captured. And I'll tell you the simple way to figure that out, whether it's happened, is this. You start seeing people do this. They're not captured and engaged. They're not. So how do we capture and engage people? We're going to talk about that all for the week, but it has to do with, somebody might use the word entertain. Now some of you go, oh, don't entertain. Some of you Christian artists are like, no, we don't entertain, we minister. Yeah. I've heard it. All it means is people are totally present. That's exactly what we want. And there's certain things that we do on stage, how we plan, certain things that happen on the stage to keep people captured and engaged. Whoever saw the movie Schindler's List? That was a 3-hour, 20-minute movie, and when it was over, I went, I can't believe it's over, because it passed by so fast. You're thinking, because I remember going into it thinking, okay, here we go, 3 hours and 20 minutes, I hope I can make it. It wasn't like that. It was, I can't believe it's over. Because we were so present the whole time, and it was interesting, it was well written, it was well acted. Everything captured and engaged us. We were present. Second reason an audience goes any place, the reason they show up, is they want to experience moments. They want to experience moments. They want to laugh. They want to cry. They want chills on their arms. That's what they want. They don't go to hear songs. They think they go to hear songs. Ladies, let me be real prejudiced here. Ladies, it's a Saturday afternoon in February in your town. It's cold, it's dreary, all you want to do is sleep. At least that's me. You're depressed. And you're thinking, I'm going to call girlfriend, we're going to go do something. We're going to go see a movie. So we open the newspaper or go online, and what are we searching for? Really, what are we looking for in a movie? We're looking for a movie. We'll go, oh, look at Meryl Streep, and oh, look, she's a great actress. But we're looking for a movie that will let us, or make us, or help us cry. We want to go to the movie and go, ooh. We don't care how about the acting. Well, all the acting does, if it's believable, is help us get to that spot. We don't care about the script. We don't care about the technical things. We don't care. We want to experience that moment. So the second reason people go to an event is to experience moments, musical moments, fun moments, all kinds of things. We're going to talk a lot about that this week. We're going to create some moments. We're going to show you how to create some moments. We're going to create some moments, God willing. And the third reason people go to an event is to be changed, transformed. Now understand this, not one person in the audience is thinking this consciously. They're not going, I'm here to be changed. I'm here to experience moments. I want to be captured and engaged. Now some of you might want to be engaged, but that's a different story. No, they want to be changed. In fact, I was reading something that was interesting just 2 nights ago from Courtney Love even. And she's saying, I go to stand on stage to change people. People want to be changed. Now here's the deal. We can do the first one. We can learn how to capture and engage people. We can. That's the stuff we're going to learn this week through technical skills, through writing a great show, through planning, through just being interesting. We can learn how to create moments, and we're going to do that this week. The third thing we really can't do, because to me it's kind of like this cosmic thing. It's a spiritual thing. How do we change people? We can't. I can't even change my 10-year-old. You know, a SWAT, but that's not going to change him, not inside. So those are the three things. Understand this also about your audience, and this is huge, huge. Audiences are ignorant. Audiences are ignorant. Now that offends some people, but it's not intended to offend anybody. They just don't understand musical things. Who saw the movie Titanic? Come on, hold it up. Oh yeah, there you go. All the guys are going, yeah, I saw it, okay. Yeah. Well, why are they doing that? Because we got sucked into that. That was a chick flick all the way. And us guys are like, we're thinking, all right, this thing's going to be great. Things are going to be exploding, you know. But instead it's like, ooh, you know. Do you remember the scene where she's on the stick of wood or the door, whatever, what was that? I don't even know what it was. Stick wood, door. He's in the water, and it's Jack, Rose, Jack, Rose, Jack, Rose. You know, it's like, when I'm watching that scene, I'm not sitting there going, okay, lighting is cool here. I love the dialogue. No, I'm not doing any of that stuff. How'd they get the water to shimmer like that? I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm going, pull him up, pull him up. There's room on. Anyone else thinking that? Yeah, yeah. I'm holding on to my wife's hand. Don't let go. I was caught in the moment. I was caught in the moment. Who produced that? James Cameron produced that. He's the one that had to worry about how to get to that moment. He made sure the lighting was cool. He made sure, he understood all the technical things. They just didn't happen magically. I tell you, hey, you guys go out there and do something, and hopefully through spontaneity and you know, some cosmic spiritual thing, it's going to happen. No, it was planned. It was detailed. It was worked out. And magic happened. So audiences are the same way. They don't understand what you do or why you do it. They don't understand any of that stuff. All they know is that the hairs on their arms raised, they like you. If they cry, they like you. If they laugh, they like you. They're not sitting there going, yeah, on that second verse after the bridge, I love that turnaround with the little vocal trill. I don't understand any of that stuff. They're clueless. Singers, they don't know whether you're drinking high C or singing it. They don't have a clue. They don't know if you're doing a Mixolydian scale guitar players or a Goober scale. All they know is if their hair on their arms are raised, they like you. So understand this. Your audience is ignorant. But understand this. Your audience, they're geniuses. They have PhDs in one thing, and that's human behavior. They understand emotional things. They understand when someone is standing on stage and is not in control or nervous. They understand perfectly that. Why? Because they get nervous. They don't do Mixolydian scales. They don't do vocal trills. But they do get nervous in the grocery line. You know, it's kind of like, you can't say hi, the person says hi to you and you go, hi, I got to talk to somebody. Oh no. What do I do? Should I say something? Hi, look down. They say, hi, what's your name? Oh no. They get nervous. So they can relate. So they see somebody standing on stage who's nervous, and guess what they do? The audience, they get nervous, yeah. In fact, have you ever seen somebody stand on stage so nervous, and it's like, you start praying for them? I mean, really, oh, Lord, help these people. Really, you're praying for yourself when you really think about it, because you want them to get comfortable so you can relax, because you know your role. Your role is to relax and receive, not go, oh no. You know, there's some people, you know, I'll talk about later some sponsorship things, and some people on stage should be sponsored by, like, psychological clinics. You know, table at the back. People coming out going, help. Help, I need some counseling after this show. Because the artist makes them so nervous. So who you are on stage is more important than what you do. Who you are is more important than what you do. I can have the grooviest show, coolest lights, great setup. But the next thing we need to do is love our audience. We need to understand our audience, and we need to love our audience. Now, love to me is the attitude of wanting to give anything you can for the benefit of each individual in the audience. You wanting to give anything you can. You are there for them, not for you. And not only that, and this is not manipulative, but the truth is, people respond to love more than anything. You know, somebody hasn't looked them in the eye in 6 months, and finally somebody does, and it's like, whoa, okay. So we need to learn how to love our audience from this stage. So, what keeps us from loving our audience? And it's one thing, and it hasn't changed since the garden. You know, whether you believe in the garden or you don't believe in the garden, what happened was Adam and Eve were running around, and I don't know if they're running around for 2 days or 2,000 years, because I'm not a theologian, but they're running around naked, and they did not know they were naked. Why? Because they were not self-conscious. The enemy of love, the thing that keeps us from loving people, is self-consciousness. We're concerned about us. We're not concerned about you. It's like, so how does that manifest itself on stage? How does that, you know, translate to the stage? It means this. We're standing on stage, and this, first of all, if you are thinking on stage, you are not loving your audience. And you're thinking about, we don't think, hopefully, you know, in Adam and Eve, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm naked. You know, hopefully you're not on stage going, oh, I'm naked. But here's what you're doing. It'd be an interesting, you know, gig. But you're standing on stage, and here's what you're thinking of. Okay, how do I look? How do I sound? Oh, I can't hear the monitors. How do I smell? Oh, that woman in the third row. Oh, there's the guitar player over there. Oh, there's the big industry dude. We're thinking about all that stuff. We're self-conscious. We're not concerned about out here. We're concerned about us. So what it does is it makes us nervous. Who gets nervous when they walk on stage? Who gets nervous on stage? Yeah, it's a hard thing. This is huge. In fact, when I sent out the questionnaire for this event, the number one rated thing was, I want to be more confident on stage. I want to own this stage. I want to be comfortable. Well, it starts on the inside. We're going to deal with being comfortable physically, but we're also going to talk about comfortable inside, because that is a foundation. Without that stuff, I can teach you how to be groovy and cool and all that, but if there's the right things not going on inside to walk out on stage, then you're not going to be comfortable. So I recommend, before you walk out on stage, getting yourselves prepared. This is huge. Huge. Get yourself prepared before you walk out on stage. Now, everybody does not get themselves prepared the same way. So when I played, we had a bunch of different ways to get ourselves prepared. I had a drummer who would do this. He would drive me nuts for 20 minutes, banging on stuff. I had a guy, because we got dressed in a lot of locker rooms and stuff before the show, and I had a guy who would go around hitting the lockers like, bam, bam. Had another guy that would lay out, just completely lay out. And it's like, dude, you awake? We got a show in 2 minutes. Yeah, I know. Everybody gets themselves prepared differently, but this is huge. You've got to set yourself some time to get prepared. For me, if I get to the venue, like this will ever happen anyways, too early, I have time to think. I don't do well when I think. So we actually had it set where we got our setup. We had tons of equipment. We had our setup all set to where we were like bam, 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 bam. Okay, let's bam, bam, bam. Okay, here we go. And we were just ready to go. I wasn't thinking about, oh God, I feel weird today. Oh, what's up with that on my leg? Oh, I got a zip. All that stuff would drive me into a gutter. And it took me 4 songs to get out of it. So, because what you really want to do, guys, is find a groove right off the bat if you can. Because if you're really talented, if your DNA says artist, musician, it's what I call your deep water. It's the thing that this is what I do. This is what I was created to do. You find your place. It's like a running back. When you see Barry Sanders, if those guys that don't know who he is, amazing running. But when you see him run with the ball, you're going, he was made to do that. You see Michael Jordan dunk a basketball, you're going, he shouldn't be doing that. He's not very good. No, it's like, oh my gosh, that is what he was made to do. Certainly part of it. And if you are, and I'm assuming you guys are made to do this. And so the key here is finding our groove. Some of you never find a groove. That's the problem. You wonder why it's not working. Well, it starts with pre-prep. It's getting themselves ready to go out on the stage. Whether that's a mellow start or whether that's an upstart or whatever it is. So you've got to prepare yourself. I asked earlier, how many of you get nervous when you walk on stage? Yeah. Some of you heard this story, some of you haven't. I was touring with a group in 1989, and I had that problem. Believe it or not, some of you walk up to me, oh, well, it's easy for you because you're this, and I am you. I was nervous as heck. In fact, I started a tour. We were doing this tour, and there were 550 dates in this tour. And when I started the tour, I had a 34-inch waist. 30 dates into the tour, I'm down to 31 inches and losing weight fast. And the reason I'm losing weight isn't because I'm so energetic on stage. It's because I'm nervous. I'm self-conscious all the time. I'm not eating well. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not doing anything well. When I was doing a gig a month, I kind of like, I knew I'm singing on, Friday night or something, and it'd be like, all right, well, I don't have to worry about that. Here come the thoughts. Don't have to get nervous yet. Kind of keep shoving it aside. Keep shoving it aside. Keep shoving it aside. And then maybe a week before, 10 days before, you start getting nervous. You're allowing yourself to get nervous. Okay, I can think about it now. I better start thinking about it, which means I better start worrying about it. But when you're doing 550 dates and you're doing a show every single day, you don't have time to push it aside. It's in front of your face every single day. So I'm looking at, I'm looking at 520 more dates. Let me just say this. Some of you may think I'm schizophrenic, for real. Some of you may think I'm like bipolar, and I may be. But for me, I believe this was a God moment in my life. I've had about 12, maybe 10 to 15 were moments where I feel like there's clarity in my life. The problem is, in those moments, they last for, 30 seconds to 5 minutes at the most, And what happened was I can't remember what city, but I was opening the curtain, watching people coming in. And I saw myself at the end of tour, 520 dates later, weighing 6 pounds. My heart, all you can see is my heart beating. The truth was, if something didn't change in my life, I wasn't going to make it to the end of the tour. This was the thing that I'd spent my whole life. I'd spent so many hours rehearsing, spending stupid amount of money on equipment at that time, and this will give you the dates. I had my pants made by the guy that made Jimi Hendrix and stuff. It was like $550 for a stupid pair of pants. And I just to keep them on, I kept on having to pull them in and pull them in and pull them in. And I'd spent all this time, energy, and money in my life doing this thing I think I'm called to do. I'm created to do. This is what I want to do. It's my destiny. And I see it going away unless something changed. Because I'm not going to make it to the end of tour. So I closed the curtain, and I had this conversation with God. Now understand again, no burning bush, no angel appearing going, Tom. No audible voices. Well, they were in my head, but no audible voices. And here's how the conversation went. God, I'm nervous. God, what are you nervous about? I want people to like me. Do you want people to like you? Yeah. God, I'm nervous. What are you nervous about? I want people to like me. Are you likable? Yeah. Yeah, I'm likable. Problem with that is this. The flesh gets in the way. Our prejudices get in the way. Once we get past silly things like hair, size, color, accents, they're all goofy, prejudicial things that keep us separated from people. I don't like that person. Why? Do you know them? No, but I don't like them. Why? Well, because they're black. Oh, because they talk funny. Because they're this, because of that. Once we get past those things, aren't people likable? I guarantee you everybody in this room is probably likable. Really. Once we get past, well, in my case, once you get past me, I'm a pretty likable guy. So we all want to be liked. And I figured, okay, I'm likable. God, I'm nervous. What are you nervous about? I want people to like me. Are you likable? Yeah. Is everybody going to like you? No. But here's the good news. Write this down. Write this on your pad. Write this on the person's head in front of you. You have to. This is huge. This is huge. 97% of the people that come to hear you sing, perform, whatever you do, Friday night in a club, Sunday morning at church, does not matter. 97% of those people want to like you. They do. They're not there to throw things at you. They want you to be the person that captures and engages them, that creates moments and changes their lives. They want you to be that person. You're given that authority, so the question is, are you going to do it? But 97%, I like those odds. Who likes those odds? Yeah. Any single guys in the room? Seriously, where you at? Tim? We're going to take lunch here in about an hour. I'm going to go on the streets in Nashville. I'm going to find 100 women. Show them your picture. Play them your CD. When we come back after lunch, I'm going to have 100 women on this stage. 97 are going to be digging on you. I guarantee it. How are you to walk in the room? Are you going to walk in the room like this? Hi, I'm Tim. I'm glad to be here. No, I'm walking in. If it's me, I'm here. It's me. Where's... Give me some coffee. 97% is great. 97% of the people that come to hear you do your thing are going to like you. If you want them to. If you let them. God, I'm nervous. What are you nervous about? I want people to like me. Are you likable? Yeah. Here's another thing. If you could magically, when you're up there getting ready to do your thing, magically there were little arrows over people's heads for the 3%. And you went out and said, here, put on this piece of paper all the things you want me to do or be or whatever so that you'll like me. And they'll go, okay, cut your hair, don't say those words, don't do that, whatever. They'll write all this stuff. And you went backstage and studied them and go, okay, I'll do all those things. You went out and did them on stage. Guess what? They still wouldn't like you. Can you see that? Can you see that? And the problem is this. Let me tell you who the 3% are. They're real obvious most of the time. One, very uptight people. 1 or 2%. They've let bitterness become a part of their lives. They're unhappy in their own lives. And their job in life is to make everyone else unhappy. And what you don't know, no matter what venue or wherever you're playing, you're singing in a church, whatever, that person complains about something. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. You didn't do this. You did this. Doesn't matter what you do or don't do. They're just complaining. And what you think, oh gosh, I better stop doing that. No, you shouldn't, because you don't know that the next week when someone else comes in, she goes up and complains again. They did this. They didn't do this. It's her problem, not yours. Don't make it your problem. And let me tell you who the other 1.5% is. Musicians. That's it. Here's what musicians do. You're watching an artist on stage, they're going, and the artist on stage isn't very good. They're going, yeah, they're not that good. And then the artist on stage is like really, really good. Here's what they'll say. They're not that good. So we're playing the musicians are bitter people. We're letting 3% control what we're called to do, what we're created to do. It's goofy. Now, I'm not going to pretend it hurts. I do this thing every year at a conference in the Rockies, and I get like, we get the evaluation sheets, and of course, and I mean this by God's grace, my stack is this thick. And it's either love or hate. It is really rarely anything in between. But the hate ones really drive me crazy. They break my heart. It's the kind of thing where you want to go, give me their phone number. I'll call them. What do you want me to do, dance? What do you want me to do so that you will like me? Exactly. That's not the way to do it. God, I'm nervous. What are you nervous about? I want people to like me. Are you likable? Yeah. Is everybody going to like you? No. Is that okay? And that night in 1909, I felt this imaginary pat on the fanny, and I said, yes. And I heard, then just go out there and love the people. Don't worry that you got a zit on your nose. Don't worry about the woman in the third row. Don't come and give you, spend your thing, do your gift, give it to them. And 97 of those 100 will like you. I love those odds. Good. We do this for 4 reasons: the music, the message, the money, and the me. Today what we're going to talk about is the money part. How revenue comes in to a business or an organization. We talked about how 90 to 100% of an artist's revenue, unless they win the lottery, and what I mean by the lottery is they have a huge hit song, 90% to 100% of every other artist's money comes in from their live performance. So what does that look like? Let me give you an example about record sales, for example. Now understand this. I was talking about there's a record company, there's a publishing company, and there's the touring industry. Those are all different things. I didn't want to give you the impression that those were bad things. In fact, the beauty of the record company and getting you on the radio and in the retail store and the publicity that goes behind it is one word. It's called exposure. There's nothing wrong with the record company. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be good to get more money from them and all that stuff, but the way the rules are, the way the thing is set up, the thing that you get, which is most important, is exposure. And exposure does one thing: gets people out to the gig. If they hear you on the radio, they like it, they will come out and see you. Allah, all roads lead to the stage. People will come. That is where you can either make a fan or break a fan. Who in this room has ever seen an artist after you've heard their record or seen their video and went, got to go see them, and you go see them and you're disappointed? Who's done that? Yeah, it's happened all the time. Why? Because they spent 6 months on the record, 6 months writing it, 3 days on the show. They wing it. Let me give you a couple of numbers here dealing with the record company, just to put this in perspective monetarily. Last year, there were 32,000 records released. Not made, there was way more made. 32,000 released. 5,000 sold. 5,000 of those records sold more than 1,000 copies. 250 of records sold more than 10,000 copies. Is that amazing? 250 records sold more than 10,000 copies out of 32,000 records released. 30 records sold more than 1 million records out of 32,000. Is that bad? No, it's just the way it is. So I believe when you get play it on the radio, when you're in the retail store. All the exposure that comes gets people out to the event, out to the show, out to what you're doing. Now the question is, if 90 to 100% of your revenue comes from that, where does that revenue come? Well, let's start with this. What is your purpose? What is your thing when you walk in the building? We talked a little bit about it. If you're a singer, what do you lead with? Your voice. If you're a singer-songwriter, what do you lead with? Your songs, exactly. If you're a speaker-singer, what do you lead with? Speaking, exactly, your content. So your style is involved. I mean, everyone in this room, we're trying to find our it. We're trying to find our purpose. We're trying to find what we do well. And we're trying to connect that with people. But we need something besides just singing and people hearing the words. So your style goes into it, your talent, your ability, the message. Some people lead with that. Some people lead actually with their presentation. I'll tell you who leads with their presentation. Bruce Springsteen will be 96 years old. They'll be rolling him out in a wheelchair. And he won't have a hit record for 40 years. And still he'll sell Madison Square Garden out, 10 times. He'll be in the wheelchair, pick up his guitar. Here comes the emotion. He'll start putting one foot down the other. Here he comes. You know what I'm saying? And people will go see it because this is a presentation. Now, he's got great songs, but I wouldn't call him a classic singer, would you? Is Springsteen a singer? No. I'll give you another one that's even older. Neil Diamond. But I'm telling you right now, I was just in L.A. and he sold out the Staples Center like 9 times. When was the last time you heard him on the radio? I think it was before the turn of the century. And I mean the 19th century. But do you think he cares? 20,000 people a night everywhere he goes? Oh, poor Neil. He gets to do music. He brings the message. He makes money and he fulfills his talent. Shucks. Some people lead with their personality. I'll give you 2. Share one. There's a singer. Madonna. Yeah? But what is your it? You've got to have something you can hang your hat on. And people can go, I know that person. They do this. They're this. Rather than a chameleon. Oh, whatever you want me to do, I do it. So we needed it. Now, I am sorry I can't get more definitive than that. That's why people who help career people can unpeel the onion, can find out who you are. How many of you would like to know what you're going to be when you grow up? I'm still trying to figure it out. Actually, I have found my niche, and really, I am so fortunate to have found it. My best friend, Dave, says, I was like a rock on the side of the hill, and somehow the rock got jostled loose, and I landed in the niche. And that's how it happened. I can't tell you how it happened for me. I will tell you one thing. I followed my heart and my instinct. I didn't listen to what other people said. When I told people I was going to help people with their show, they told me, you're crazy. No one needs that. Everyone knows how to perform. This was 20 years ago. And yet I'd go out and go, really? And so all the naysayers, the family members, the friends, I was mocked. But there was something inside instinctively. The problem is with a lot of us is our head gets in the way. You know what I mean? You got a gut instinct. Something, that's what I should do. Because it is a process of uncovering the onion. And the closer you get to the fire, you start figuring out what you're going to be, what your it is. It took a while. I remember, was it Sheryl Crow or was it Alanis Morissette? She was a pop artist at first. You have to sample the menu at first. That's the beauty of having a young daughter. She can try this, she can try this, she can try this. And as we get closer and closer and closer to what she likes. we have to have something besides being a chameleon. If you don't know what you are, I don't know what to say. You know, do you have a unique message? Do you have a unique message? Or is it the same old message? So we need it. I call, in the scheme of a car, our organization, our whatever we call it, business, our thing, career, it is the engine. We have to have something that drives us. The second thing is we need a key to turn on the engine. And to me, that is the communication of that it. How do we communicate that? Communication, here's a definition for communication. The exchange of information between individuals by using a common system of signs or behavior, a sense of mutual understanding and sympathy. The exchange of information between individuals by using a common system, listen to this, of signs, that's body, or behavior. That's communication. Or to communicate is to transmit or reveal a feeling or thought by speech, writing, music, or gesture so that it is clearly understood. That's to communicate. Clearly understood. So, what we want to do is be able to communicate from the stage. That's what this whole conference is about. The funny part, and it drives me crazy as I work within the music industry, there are rules for everything. In the recording studio, there are rules, there are concepts. You mic the drums this way. You use a UE87, or you got certain microphones you use. There's rules. Songwriting, is there rules for songwriting or what? I mean, the concept to get on radio is there's intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Now, are those rules broken? Of course. But is that the general rule? Yeah, it is. Is there rhyme schemes? There are rules to almost everything in the music industry, except when you get on stage. It's like building a house. So you got to have a plan. We're going to put the house over here. And that's the planning part I talk about. Getting a vision, you're planning what you're going to do on stage. Then we lay the foundation. And the foundation are the mental, emotional, psychological, you could even say spiritual things that we go through before we walk on stage, while we're headed to the gig, while we're on stage. Those are foundational. Because without those things, there's no freedom, there's no spontaneity. You know, you're just doing a job. You're just trying to get through the night. There's no joy in it. You're singing and playing so that you don't make a mistake, rather than because of the joy of it. Then the third thing, after the foundation is laid, you need materials, tools, and skill. You need the materials, meaning where do we do things from on stage? You have to understand the fundamentals. You have to understand how to knock those nails in. You got to have the tools to do it. There's 5 tools we talk about. You've got to have that. So you've got the plan, you've got the foundation, you've got the materials, tools, and the skill, and then once the house is built, what do? You move in. You move in. You bring who you are into it. If you went, anyone ever lived in an apartment building before? Yeah. When you were living in an apartment building, I mean, I've lived in half a dozen or dozen, and every apartment next to each other is the same. It just turned around. You know, it's 2-bedroom, a bath, kitchen, You go next door, 2-bedroom, bath, It's the same thing. So the floor plan, conceptually, the form is all the same. What makes it unique? It's you. You walk in this house and you walk in this house, the books, the music, the atmosphere is totally different in this house as it is in this house. Some people are slobs, some people are anal, some people are, that's what makes this whole entire thing unique. And your show should reflect your personality, who you are. So if we have an it, We learn to communicate it using those things. Then we come down to setting up streams of revenue. First place of revenue is being paid to play. I mean, that's the obvious thing. Gee, can I play at your place? Can you pay me X amount of dollars? An honorarium, a salary, a per diem, whatever you want to call it, you get paid to play. That's the first place revenue comes from. That's a no-brainer. Second place is product. Who in this room sells CDs or product? There you go. That's your second place. And generally speaking, that's where it ends. That's it. And generally speaking, it's not enough. So what are you doing? You're paying to play. Why? Because you love it. Because you're waiting to win the lottery. Somehow it's going to turn around. Let's go back to the product. People do not buy songs. They buy moments. That's it. Almost every artist I ever work with has at least one moment. You know, they're like gifts down from the sky. You know, everything just falls together. You've got one song and it works. Okay, let's set up our streams of revenue here. Here's our engine, our it. The key goes in it. That's our communication. Our first stream is paid to play. Second is product. We got 200 people. Let's say 5% of those people are touched by that moment. How much is that? 10 people. How much do you normally sell your CDs for? 15 guys? Let's just say that. 5% at 10, that's $150 you make, right? And let's say somehow somebody pays you $100 to play because you're just getting going. How much have you made? $250. That's where it ends. You start paying gas, strings, phone calls, cards, CD. You're paying to play. You realize that. Well, let's just say now instead of one moment, we have 4 moments. Because we've spent time on the communication and we're creating moments. And now, instead of 5%, we now have 20% of the people buying our CD. So 20% of 200 would be, help me, 40 people times $15, $600? Is that starting to look a little bit better? All right. So the key here is creating moments. Exactly right. The people will buy. Why do people buy moments? Because it makes them feel a certain way. That's exactly what this says right here. Communicate, to transmit or reveal a feeling. That's what this is all about. The reason you sing, the reason you choose this message, the reason you write the song, the reason you pick those tones on guitar or keyboard is because it does something to you. If we could just connect, chord to chord, and they could get that, they'd be running to the table. Oh my gosh, that makes me feel like this. But the problem is, we got this space in between us and we don't communicate because we're in different bodies. And people will run back to relive that moment in their house or in their car as they're driving. Because it made them happy, it made them sad, made them think of their grandmother, whatever it is, whatever the deal is, made them, I feel alive. Not just good words, good music, it's the feeling behind it. That's what we're trying to get to. You understand that? And that takes work. It takes that understanding of those 4 things, like building the house. But let's not stop there. Let's talk about other streams of revenue, because there are 5. The next one, a non-profit status. Now, this is a pain in the rear, and I wish I knew more about it. I'm trying to find a turnkey non-profit thing for people. But I do have indie artists that do $2,000, $3,000 a month. Who'd like to fall out of bed and know you're getting $2,000 or $3,000 a month? Would that help? You bet it would. You ever heard the term diversification? All it means is streams, money's coming from different places. One of the things I've learned, I got another group that I work with, and they said to me, now they get money regularly too, but they also said when you're doing a nonprofit thing, a lot of people will contribute computers. In other words, it's not money, but if you ask for specific things, we're building this thing, we're building a farm, where there's a cause. People like to give to causes. The other way to generate revenue is sponsorship. Sponsorship. Now some of you are thinking, I don't know, how can I get sponsorship? I guarantee you there are people in this room that could get sponsorship. I guarantee it. Because here's the deal. If you're creating moments, you're capturing, engaging people, and your business/career thing is growing, and people see the excitement around it, and it building and going somewhere, there will be people that are interested in you and helping you, and not only in helping you, getting in front of the people that you're in front of. So sponsorship. Right now I got 3, 4, 5 people that sponsor me. Now it's taken a while to build to that. There's no question about it. But I know this, when I walk into the building, I'm already up to $3,000, $4,000. That would be cool. Now let me give you a clue on sponsorship. Don't just take money when people want to give it to you. Make sure that the money you're taking and the product you're bringing and the stuff you're trying to hook people up with is a win-win situation. It's not like, okay, they're giving me money, let me push this on you, it's not good for you, but I get out of it. That is not going to last. If the stuff that is brought to your audience is good for them, when you come back again, they're going to trust you. They're going to believe it. It's like, that was a good thing you said last time. There's some integrity in this. Do few things, but do them well. Heartfelt work grows slowly. But the point is this, sponsors. Now here's another twist here. There is causes. That will also sponsor you. There are organizations that will sponsor you. Who in here has ever sponsored a child? Holy cow. Why? Because you're moved by it. Yeah. Well, there are organizations, oh boy, are there, trying to get to you right now. Right now. And they're willing to pay you. Now some of you are going, okay, that's weird. No, it isn't weird. Because let me explain this. When an organization, a real organization that is together, has got to tell somebody about the cause. In other words, I mean, it's not just news every day. Sponsoring children is not headline news. Do you realize that? The irony in this whole entire deal, what's happening in Africa and happening in the Congo and happening all over the world is, we see tsunami, and it's a terrible thing. We see the earthquake in Asia and Pakistan and all that, and it's a terrible thing. But to realize that many children die every single day, and it's not headline news. So somebody's got to tell people about what's going on, whatever that cause is. Well, that organization, a well-run organization, sets aside money to acquire money to come back in. They've got to tell people about the cause so that people can know about the cause so they can give. Does that make sense? It's not rocket science. Well, how do they do that? They do it through radio. They do it through TV. They do it through print. They do it through the web. And they do it through artists. That's how they do it. One of the organizations I work with, world's largest, actually the 12th largest non-governmental agency in the world, moves more food in Africa than any organization, has raised Over $1 billion through artists. Over $1 billion through artists for their causes. And a labor is worthy of their wages. If you're going to help them raise funds, they're not goofy. They know they're accessing your audiences. Now, some of you are thinking, well, I don't have a big audience. I only play to 80 people a night, 200 people a night, 300 people a night, or 21 a night. I only play in front of women. Oh, I do a club thing, a coffee house thing. That's people. That's the people they want to get in front of. This is another place you can raise revenue for real. And here's the beauty of it. Is it for a good cause? AIDS orphans in Africa. Gee whiz. Terrible thing to do and get paid for. It's a win-win situation. So here's the deal. There are organizations that have causes that are looking for ways to raise funds. Let's take sponsorship. Let's say $50 a person. Now we're in front of 200 people. And let's say the average, you fall out of bed if you're just even a little committed to the cause. And your percentage is 2%. So what is 2% here? Four people. 4 times 50 is $200 a night. Would that help somebody? Let's say you end up doing 50 gigs just a year. That's $10,000. So, let's say you have a sponsor, or if you're a nonprofit, somebody gives you $10 a month for your cause, or if you're a sponsor, they give you $120. So now we've got $120 here a night. You realize if you're a nonprofit, somebody gives you $10 a month to help you go on, and that goes on for a year, that's $120 you've just made. Do you realize that in terms of real money? Okay. We now have 4 streams of revenue instead of just 2. Let me give you another one. Now, this is what I used to call the spare tire. The spare tire, when I started teaching this class 5 years ago, it was like, oh yeah, don't forget the internet. Because inevitably, this is what happens everywhere I speak around the world. I'll say, because I sell the product out there, and I always have specials on where I'm at. And there's reasons for it, not manipulative. I've got deals with distributors. When I'm at a place, I'm allowed to sell stuff cheaper. That's my deal with them. I got some products out there that you can't buy anywhere in the world cheaper than at my event. And I don't know why that worked out that way. It's called favor. But inevitably, even with that, people will go, I can't afford it, now's not the time. And they go to my website. And I sell 2, 3, 4 more CDs. So now I'll make $60. Now let's just add this up. Let's say we're now, instead of just doing one moment by accident, singing in front of 200 people, we sell $150, and if we get $100 to play, we're fortunate, but let's just say that. Now we've got $250. The truth is, in most cases, we're in the red. But instead of $250 a night, now we have something to say. This is not rocket science, but I'm telling you, this works, and you got to work it. You have something to say. You have something unique. You have something going on. You communicate that emotion to people by creating moments. You're capturing and engaging. Now, guess what people are willing to do? Pay you more money. So let's say you get $250 to come now. Let's say we now are selling more CDs, which is $600. Well, gee whiz, I'll contribute to that because something happened. And now let's just stay at $120. $120 people giving to your deal or a sponsor. And let's say we now creating moments and we have 10 sponsors a night. We're up to $500. Somebody add this up. Love my drawing. I can't even figure it out. 250, 600, 120, and 500. 1470? Ooh, is this sounding a bit better to anybody? Seriously, 1470. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, and let's add the 60 down here for that. So we're up to 1530. That's in front of 200 people a night. Now my question to you is this. Solo artist, singer-songwriter, how many dates in a year do you have to do to make a living now? Now what we do is look at this and we look at a strategy. We look at a thing called, what I call vital factors. We have our it. Our key turns it on. We have, these are tires, by the way. It, communication. Now we look at these places where revenue comes from, and we start thinking aloud. Well, I think aloud. What if I called up a place and said, this cause I'm involved in is really important. Not only is it important, it's well known. Would you mind having me at your place? I will come for free. Now, why would I do that? Because this place has 800 people. And if I have created moments and I'm getting 20% of the people buying CDs at $15, it's $2,400, isn't it? Yeah, it's $2,400. Do you think sponsors or people would like to get in front of 800 people instead of 200 people? You think they'd pay you a little more? So let's move this up to, let's say $500. Now we're getting 5%. Let's say we drop it because it's a little bit bigger crowd. We're down to 4%. 4% is 32 sponsors at $50. That's $1,600. 1,600, 24, 500. Oh, don't forget our internet. Let's say we make just $200 from it. Is this making any sense to anybody? Now, I'm making it sound easy. 7 and 6 is 3, 7. That's $4,700. How many gigs do you have to do a year to get that? I got a guy that will actually do this. Hello, venue. I hear you're doing a festival. And how many people are there? 4,000? I will pay you. Anybody tracking with me here? Yeah, this isn't rocket science. Now, the idea here is start looking at this place. Everyone, this is where they're trying to extract their money. Got to pay me to play. Oh, I can't come for less than this. That's a crock. What you need to do is get in front of people. Oh, hold on. That's not true unless we create moments. Because if we get in front of people and we're not very good, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. You guys tracking with me? Please say, if you are, say, yeah. All right. Doesn't that sound like a piece of cake? It's not a piece of cake. But these are the vital factors. This is the way to do it. In fact, you know, this conference, my whole entire thing is all roads lead to the stage. But really, the truth, and this is my opinion, I love the year we're in. I love the era we're in. I love the economy we're in because everything is changing. Do you realize that with the digital age? I believe, Bill Gates says this, to have a successful business in this time, you need two things, high tech and high touch. All roads lead to the stage. That's the high touch. You're creating warm fuzzies. They love you. You're bringing something. You're bringing them some life. We'll never get away from that. When the internet first came out, everyone thought, no one will ever go to concerts anymore. Downloads, no one will buy records anymore. No, what it does is it expands it. More people hear about you. So what you can start doing, so what we need is the high touch, which is a great show, high-tech website, marketed well. You start working these two things together, you can make a living. If you ended up, as you start doing this and start gathering names and you start developing a database, but you got to start now. Who plans on giving up right now? Okay, this is it. If something doesn't happen by next Friday, I'm out of here. No. Who wants to make this thing work? Seriously, raise your hand. Did you try to get here? No, not to this event. What did you do? You got here. That's it. Listen, I may be bipolar, I may be schizophrenic, I may be crazy. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I've worked for 20 years in this industry, and even a rock could start figuring stuff out. You know what I mean? I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as they say down in the South. The ones that are successful, this is how they have this stuff set up. And they're not tied to radio. Is radio good? Yes. But you understand, to get signed with the A&R guy that we just brought in here, he has got to like it. We have a gatekeeper. In the digital age, guess who's got to like it? Anybody. A friend who tells a friend who tells a friend. And guess what? When you're standing on stage, guess what? They can all make up their own minds. You don't have to go through one person to go, and everyone, you turn around and go, okay, everybody, he's good. They can make up their own minds for themselves. And really, the truth is, the more moments you create, people will pay you to come. Because you're doing something. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Does this make sense? Yeah. That is where revenue comes from in this deal. Are the wheels turning? So, you got to answer this question. This will help you with your it. Because that's where it starts. Why me? Why now? Why? Why you? Why you? And why now? Answer that question. Learn to be great communicators from stage. Set up your streams of revenue. And don't try to go do this thing. Go do this thing. Just because you get some resistance, just because it doesn't happen easy, slip, slide, it doesn't mean it's not supposed to happen. Was this easy for everybody to come to? No. You just determined, I'm going to go. You figured a way, whether it was come halfway around the world. I'm serious. Get a babysitter. Get a pizza job on the side to pay for this. But the point is, you made it happen. You can make this happen. Is it a piece of cake? No. Is it work? Yep. But you guys have already said this to me in other sessions. Will this craving, this thing go away? No, because you were made to do this. You were made to do this. And at what time that quote-unquote word success happens in your life, that's not up to you. You know, there's story after story after story of people coming into success at different times of their lives. Unfortunately, the media plays to us. That's why we believe the lie, you're too old. The media plays, they show you the 17-year-old that is now driving and it's like, oh my gosh, oh, I'll never do that. I guess my time has passed. That's a crock. For every one of those, there's a million that are still wanting to do it or trying to do it. Well, don't try anymore. Do it. Can you say, I'll do it? Come on, I'll do it. All right.
start out and ask you, how many of you out here already have a website? Okay, very good. How many of you have had a website for more than 2 years? Pretty good number. How about more than a year, or at least a year? Okay, well, let me ask you this. How many of you are making $10,000 a year on your website? Okay. How about 5,000? $1,000 a year. 1, 2, 500 or less? Or less. That was a trick question. Well, I'm going to share with you tonight what you can do about that and why the internet and new media is so incredibly powerful and wonderful for the independent artist. I'm really excited to share that with you tonight. And one of the ways that I first feel that would really sink in and help you to understand the main principle of internet marketing is to stand up on your feet. So everybody stand up. Come on, I know you just had dinner. Stand up, you can do it. Oh, look at her. She's even getting up with her foot and everything. I want you to turn to the person on the right, and I want you to tell them these very words. It's not about you. To the person on your right. Let me hear you say that again, a little louder. Now I want you to tell them it's about your fans. All right, you can sit down. Good job, good job. You know, one of the things that has happened here so far this week, and I've just been so blessed by it, and I'm hoping that you're really getting it. I know there's a lot of information, a lot of good things that you're getting. But one thing that Tom has talked about, Des has already talked about, and I'm going to talk about, is what I call the fan experience. Tom calls it creating moments. Des calls it connecting with your audience. This is one of the major reasons websites fail for artists today. And I'm talking about even signed artists. And the reason I'm saying that is even though they may be signed and they appear to be successful and they're selling records and so on, that's only because a lot of money went into that marketing machine to get their name out there. If that wasn't the case, and they were like most of you who are doing this on your own, I guarantee you they would be facing the same dilemmas that you face. And that is, I got a website, how do I get people to my site? And once I get them there, how do I get them to stay? And after that, how do I get them to buy something? Is there anybody here who doesn't want to sell anything online? Any of you here who do not want to sell your music online, your merchandise online? So, we're going to talk about how you do those things. I'm not here to tell you how to build a website. I'm here to tell you that internet marketing is one of the most important tools that an independent artist or anybody in business today need to have under their belt. We have to look at the fact that today's consumer is incredible. And by the way, you're a consumer, and you are a fan. And consumers are fans. And they are so incredible because we live in the most marvelous time. We live in a time right now where technology is amazing, and it continues to be so. In 2 or 3 more years, I mean, you're going to be able to plug up anywhere, take a mobile digital device with you anywhere, and have information, access to information the way you want it, where you want it, and how you want it. very personalized. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that artists are going to have the opportunity to truly, truly reach out to fans and develop what I call fan relationships through fan experiences. And do you know what the word on the street is in the corporate world? It's he who owns the customer wins. Think about it. Write that down. He who owns the customer wins. What does that mean? Well, the truth of the matter is you can have the slickest website, the coolest marketing and promotion machine behind you. You can have all those things going on. But if you don't have the heart of the consumer, the heart of the fan, you're going to get forgotten very, very soon. You know what's happening right now? We're moving into a thing that's called the Dream Society. We're moving out of the Information Society. We've got information. We've got to overload, right? Everybody overloaded with information? So we're moving into a thing that's called the Dream Society. And here, again, I see some spiritual aspects to this because essentially what it is that the average person or consumer out there is so overloaded, stressed out. They have so much, especially here in America. But believe me, even global communities around the world are experiencing wealth like they've never had before. These huge companies are going in and building infrastructures and outsourcing our jobs. We are really becoming a global world, a global society in a true sense. And what's happening is that especially here in America, you're finding that consumers are frustrated, bored, stressed out. Materialism didn't do it for them. The degree, the title, the job. You see it all over the place. And basically what the Dream Society is, and believe me, the large corporations are gearing up for this. There are gurus out here teaching this and making it aware the strategies that you need to use to compete in business in the next few years. Dream Society means that people want an experience. They don't want to be talked at. They don't want a product. They don't want just consumerism. They don't want you even to sell them what you think they want. They want to be cared for, understood, loved. They want to journey with you. They want to be a part. Think about it. And do you know that artists, musicians, people in theatrical business, all of those things, live performance, all of those things are going to benefit from this in a huge way. Why? Because people are always looking for something more than just a transaction. And what happens most of the time? How many of you surf the internet here? Okay. When you go online, most of the time, you already know what you're looking for. Is that true? Or is there anybody here that just pulls up a browser and just kind of sits there and tries to figure out what they want? Okay, we got a couple. At least you're honest. But statistics show that the majority of people already know what they're searching for. They already have an idea. All you have to do is put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Before I go any further, let me just tell you something that I think is just so incredible. Do you know that now you have the opportunity, instead of chasing something elusive, that you can become a musicpreneur? Write that down, a musicpreneur. Do you know what that means? That means that you are going to be able to totally 100% not only make a living from what you do, but you're going to have your hand and your say-so in what you believe your true calling is in your life and your ability to fulfill that. You're not going to be just led whichever way when somebody tells you. I'm not saying that you won't work with other people and that you won't have things that you'll need to compromise in a good way, working things through. But you are in control because technology has made it so possible. So you're in the music business. You're in the music business. It's not just the labels or the managers or all of the service industry. You are in the music business, and you are an entrepreneur. Have you ever thought of yourself like that? You're an entrepreneur. So, with that said, what that means is that you are the only one who can ensure 100% that you reach out and give your fans an experience that they not only connect with you, but at the same time, they have a journey, an experience, a memorable moment. They feel that they have a part of what you're doing because you see, you're the creative side. Our society is moving back to the creativeness. We've been industrialized. We've got systems, we've got programs, we've got processes and procedures, and we're all tired of it. We all want something more than that. And music is the language. It's the vehicle that can transport you. And each and every one of us have different combinations and experiences and blends of what really moves us in music. And today, like never before, live performance and using the internet is going to be the most key way an artist will be able to reach people all over the world. All over the world. Isn't that exciting? One of the things about fans also that you need to understand is that when they come to your website, statistics show you have approximately 30 seconds to capture them. 30 seconds. I was talking to a sweet lady here who in retail, I believe she said it was 3 minutes to capture someone when you walk by a product. 3 seconds, okay, that's even less. So, what does that mean? Well, fans, consumers come to a website and immediately peruse it to find out what's in it for me. What's here for me? That's key. That is key. That's not rude. That's not crude. We are all that way. It's a basic desire, psychologically and emotionally and spiritually, that we want to connect. We want to be important. We want something that we feel attached to, that we're a part of. And it's the same thing in the cyber world. But you have to do it in certain ways to capture them within that very short time. You're competing with thousands and thousands and actually millions of websites, but hundreds of thousands of artists. Secular, Christian, all types of genres, signed, unsigned. And here's what I want to tell you. Don't be discouraged by that. Don't even give that a second thought. Just be aware of it. Because all that does is help you to understand how focused you must be on your fans. Your website is not about you. It's about your fans. When I come to a website as a fan and I'm looking, I don't care about your bio. Sorry. I don't care about your photo gallery or your guest book or your ticker or how many people have been on your site. I don't want to know your mission statement. And I may be the most, wonderful person in the world, but that's not what I'm coming for. I'm coming to see what are you about and how do we connect? Does that make sense to anybody here? Search engines. Let me tell you about search engines. They're great if you're going to spend $4,000 to $10,000 a month to get positioned. And it can be a good part of your strategy, depending on what your business is and your goals. But for the most of us, remember a search engine normally has 10 to 20 positions on a page, doesn't it? There's like only 10 or 20 listed. Of course, you got your sponsors and all these people are paying for them positions, okay? So how many pages back do you go when you're searching on a search engine for something? 2? 3? 5? 10? Don't think so. So knowing those odds, okay, don't waste your time with that. Every time you go somewhere, you should be constantly, all you people that are here today, you should have cards, something with your website, information about you digitally. Always on you. Every time you play, if it's appropriate, have your website, on the front of your keyboard or something. It is amazing the opportunities that we miss. Wear your shirt, get your name on your shirt with your website. There's so many ways besides just a newsletter, people signing up for that. And what you're doing here now, where you're learning all these different things, is the beginning step. And as you continue to learn more about internet marketing, I'm not talking websites. And you know what? A lot of people say internet marketing and they're talking search engines. There's a big difference. Internet marketing is even different than traditional marketing. Internet marketing is really a science of strategy and anticipating what people want and how they want it online. All you have to do is think about it. Dig deep. You're creative, you're artist. Think about it. Who is it? Who do people say you sound like? I know some people have a problem with that. I'm an original. We're all originals. But we all got something of our own that somebody else has done or is close to it, right? Am I right? So look around you because the clues are everywhere. And what you do is you begin to develop your strategies. But those strategies, those tools, those resources are available for every single one of you. It doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter how successful you consider yourself to be, how long you've been doing this, what stage you're at in this. It doesn't matter. Every single one of you have the ability, you have the resources, and you have the tools to be successful online with your ministry, your music, your calling. And what I would like to leave you with here today is this. We live in a world right now that is pretty crazy. Wouldn't you agree with me? It's pretty crazy. But at the same time, we live in a world, as I said earlier, that is incredible now because we have the ability to speak to people around the world 24/7. There's never been a day for independent artists like there is today. Never been a time that you could be truly, truly on your own and really make it like you can today. And a lot of that has to do with technology. Don't be afraid of it. And if you don't deal with computers and that's not your thing, then find somebody, a friend, a family, somebody in your band. Find someone who does. But embrace it. or you're going to get left behind. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, it's so cool because right now there are so many businesses and people online who do not know how to market online that you have a great opportunity to get out there and get it first or be in the front running. And it's all because this is the greatest vehicle that's been given to us right now to communicate with people. Isn't that what your music is about? So you want to use the internet in a resourceful way and at the same time get paid for it, right? And I guarantee you this, if you will first put your fans in the foremost of your marketing strategies, especially online, you're already hearing Tom tell you about it in your performance, and you're reaching out to people live. If you will do that also online, I guarantee you what's going to happen? People are going to connect with you. And do you know, we have the greatest virtual social networks going on right now. It's incredible. You know, back in my day, the underground movement of music was so cool. And we got to hear music that wasn't labeled yet, or we got stuff before it went commercial, you know. We loved it, and we shared it with our friends, and we felt like we were empowered because we were in the know. Do you know that's going on right now on the internet? People are sick of the music that has been shoved down their throats. That's right. Podcasting, blogs, cellcasting, roadcasting, webcasting, digital downloads, peer-to-peer. People are sharing and finding music, world music. Whew, I'm into world music right now. I'm just loving it. Man, there is music out there that's outside of our continent that is just too cool. But I would have never heard it had I not tapped in to someone else who heard it and told me about it. And that's what's happening. We have an underground grassroots movement going on in these social networks right now, and people are sharing. Listen, I got kids who, well, they're 20, my youngest are 23. Man, they are so into this stuff. Music, you remember some of you that are not there? Music is everything. And they are so into this stuff. They're passing this stuff to their friends and constantly, through their cell phones, everything. So embrace this, please. Think about it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to those people. You were meant to touch their lives. And the internet is just one other incredible tool for you to do it through. But more than anything, if you've caught anything I've said here today, please do not leave here without remembering your website, your online initiative is not about you, it's about your fans. And you need to know who your fans are so that you can build relationship with them, lasting relationship.